Let us see the next question. The asset management company of the mutual fund has declared a dividend of 9.98 percentage on the units under dividend reinvestment plan for the year ended 31st of March 2021. The investors are issued additional units for the dividend at the highlight the portion closing NAV for the year as per the conditions of the scheme. The closing NAV was 24 rupee 95 paise as on 31st of March. An investor Mr. X having 20,800 number of units at the year end has made an investment in the units before the declaration of the dividend at the rate of opening NAV plus an entry load of 4 paise. The net asset value has appreciated by 25% during the year. Assume the face value of the unit is rupees 10. You are required to calculate following three answers. I request you to write the answer of the first opening NAV in the chat box. Let us have understanding that say how to calculate the answer. The asset management of company of a mutual fund declare a dividend of 9.98 percentage. So the information is provided to us regarding dividend at the rate of 9.98 percentage under dividend reinvestment plan. So the plan is provided as dividend reinvestment. As on 31st of March 2021. The investors are issued additional units for the dividend at the closing NAV for the year as per the conditions of the scheme. So the reinvestment is at the rate of closing net asset value. The closing NAV is 24.95 rupees per unit as on 31st of March 2021. An investor Mr. X who is having 20,800 number of units at the end of the year. Okay. So number of units at the end of year is 20800. In the units before the declaration of the dividend and at the rate of opening NAV plus entry load of 4 paise. So opening NAV plus entry load, that is 0.04. The NAV has appreciated by 25%. So this amount is including the appreciation of 25%. Face value is rupees 10. And the question says that first of all, what is the opening NAV? So let us answer the first question. Opening NAV. In that, it is the closing NAV is equal to opening NAV plus increase. So it is 24 rupees 95 paise is equal to opening NAV plus opening NAV into 25%. So opening NAV is equal to 24 rupees 95 paise upon 1.25. That is the way we are required to make the computation. It is 19.96. That is the way the opening NAV can be found. The second question is number of units purchased I request you to write in the chat box that what must be the number of units purchased. Now answer for the second question. The question says answer the number of units purchased. Dear students, I am assigning x variable to it. So we can say something like this, very simple. Working note number 1, calculation of dividend per unit. It is a face value into rate of dividend. Face value is 10 and rate of dividend is 9.98%. That comes to 0.998. That is the way, so the amount of the dividend per unit can be calculated. You can see that the question says like this. An investor, Mr. X, who is having 20,800 number of units at the year end, has made investment in units before the declaration of the dividend. So we understand like this. Number of units purchased plus units allotted is equal to balance units. Let us assume that the X number of units had been purchased. Plus, listen carefully, dividend per unit is 9.98 paise. So X into 0.998. This is the amount of the dividend divided by the NAV per unit. Language of the question is clearly providing the information that the units were allotted at the rate of 24.95, that is NAV prevailing at the end of the year. And with that, so the total is 20,800 number of units. This is the way we are supposed to make the computation of the answer. So now it is very simple. 24.95 into x plus 0.998x divided by 24.95 is equal to 20800. 24.95 plus 0.998, that is 25.948. X is equal to 20800 into 24.95. So X is equal to 20800 into 24.95 divided by 25.948. This is the way we are required to find answer. So 20800 into 24.95 divided by 25.948. That comes to 20,000 number of units. So this must be the number of units that would be allotted to the investor at the beginning of the period. So repeat the answer. Number of units purchased at the beginning, let us assume X. Dividend per unit is 10 into face value into 9.98, that comes to 0.998 rupees per unit. Number of units allotted initially plus additional number of units, and with that the total is 20,800. So it is x plus x into 0.998 upon 24.95 is equal to 20,800, and with that, so we make the computation of the x, that is 20,000 number of units. Third question, original amount of the investment. Dear students, original amount of the investment can be calculated like this: units into NAV per unit plus entry load. Number of units allotted 20,000 into NAV per unit is 19.96. That is answer of the first question. Plus entry load is 20,000 into 0.04. So 20,000 into 19.96, that comes to 3,99,200. Plus 20,000 into 0.04, that comes to 800. So I think that the total amount of the investment would be an amount of 4 lakhs. This is the way we can compute the original amount of investment. So let us have the final revision. First of all, we compute the opening NAV, that is closing NAV divided by 1.25, that is opening NAV. Second is the number of units that you purchase. It is like the first of all dividend per unit, then dividend per unit into number of units divided by NAV per unit at which the units are allotted, that is year end NAV, plus initial number of units, that will give us the total number of units, is equal to 20,800. With that, say we find an amount of 20,000 number of units. Last is original amount of the investment, and it is calculated very simple: initial number of units allotted into NAV per unit, which is found in the very first answer, plus 20,000 number of units into entry load is given as 4 paise, and with that, so the amount is calculated 4 lakhs.